Hello, I'm Candace Benji Small. I am co-facilitating this workshop with Eric Ackerman at Radford University. I apologize in advance. I have a holiday cold, so that's what the sniffles are about. So I'm going to be just walking very briefly through the course and the first week so that you'll be oriented and you can get as much out of this class as possible. So I am on the opening screen of our course, Crash Course in Assessing Information Literacy. And here is the facilitator contact information. If at any point you have a problem, go ahead and click here and you will see Eric's and my email. You can email either one of us and we will get back to you very shortly to answer any questions or problems you might have. One of the first things you should do in this class is post to the introductions board. For all of our discussion boards, we ask that you put your initial reply and then respond to at least one of your classmates' posts in order to build a sense of community, which we have heard from past participants in classes is one of the most beneficial parts of being part of Library Juice Academy. So here's my intro, and then you would just add your post by clicking here and then putting the text in. Now, each week, the course will open up and give you a list of different items for you to complete. This is an asynchronous course, but it has weekly deadlines. So January 2nd through January 8th, these are the things we ask you to do. You can do them at any point during that week. And I know for some of you, you'll be starting week 2, so you may be a little bit behind. But for best effects, try to stay within the same week as the rest of us. And we don't open up the whole course because we try to be very proactive and reactive to the participants' needs. So right now, the only module open is January 2nd through January 8th, and then on January 9th, we will open up the next module. Each module builds on the next one. That's one reason why we do one at a time, because we want to make sure that we give you feedback and make sure you're on the right track with the previous module before opening up the second module. Alright, so here we are on January 2nd, and you clicked here to get to the video. So good job! The next thing you will see is the assessment overview, and this is the learning outcomes for the week. So by the end of this module, you should be able to do these different outcomes. So click on that to review what you're going to get out of this week. Then next, there's going to be a video by Eric where he's going to explain very briefly the difference between assessment and research and tell you about the important questions you need to consider before you jump into an assessment project. Then you're going to read an article by Dominique Turnbow and Annie Zeidman-Karpinski. It's a preprint. It's an article that's going to be published by Communication Information Literacy early in 2017, but they were nice enough to give us a preprint so we could put it up right away and use it in our class. And I think it does a really nice job of helping you start thinking about what are the student learning outcomes that you want to measure, and then making sure that you find the right assessment tool to measure those outcomes. And that was really the impetus for the course for Eric and I. We were teaching another class which you may take in the future about observational assessment, and what we were finding was that sometimes people had in mind things that just weren't quite going to work. They had a certain student learning outcome, but then what they were going to use to measure the outcome really wasn't going to do that, or also sometimes they were picking a tool and then not realizing how much work it was going to take in order to do that assessment. So the idea behind this workshop, this series of, this class, is to get you to start thinking about your learning outcome, what kind of tool would actually measure that learning outcome, and then give you a taste of different types of assessment methods so that if you go forward with such a project, you know what you're getting into and whether the results will actually give you what you want. Then I have a little video that just talks about the big points of Dominique and Annie's article and how it fits into our class. Dominique and Annie do talk about a certain way of writing learning outcomes, which I think is beneficial, but is not one of the goals of this class. So if you would prefer to use the SMART goal method or another way to write your learning objectives and outcomes, that's perfectly fine. What I want you to concentrate on that article is really about how the outcome meets the Kirkpatrick level, that match up there. Then you'll take a little quiz just to assess that you understood the reading in the video. And then there's another discussion board that talks about your reflections on this week's work. At the end of every module, we'll have supplemental readings. If I click on that one, these are optional, but if something we talked about you wanted to dig deeper into, we have links here to different articles that you could read about. Once again, these are optional. We assume by Library Juice Academy standards that it should take you about 3 hours a week to do each module. But if you feel like there are gaps or you're super interested in something, that's why we give you the supplemental readings. So that's it for this week. I really look forward to talking with you on the discussion board, and if any point you have any questions, please send me an email. Thank you.